and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching India Today Global. The big story, a day after the historic and amazing meeting between US President Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, President of China, India and the United States of America have signed a 10-year defense framework agreement. The agreement was signed by Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his US counterpart Pete Hegseth in Kuala Lumpur. The signing of the agreement is seen as a crucial move after US and China agreed on major trade issues ranging from soybeans to fentanyl to rare earth minerals. It's also important as India was hit with 50% tariff for purchasing Russian oil. The meeting took place on the sidelines of the ASEAN Defense Ministers meeting and the Meeting Plus. The deal lays out a long roadmap for deeper military collaboration, capacity building and joint initiative across the Indo-Pacific region. The agreement comes at a time when US President Donald Trump has ordered the Pentagon to immediately test nuclear weapons.
और इस अवसर पर डिफेंस फ्रेमवर्क की शाइनिंग्स मैं समझता हूं कि उसके परिणाम स्वरूप आज एक नए अध्याय का प्रारंभ होगा। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं पुनः आपको धन्यवाद देता हूं और मेरा पूरा विश्वास है कि आपकी लीडरशिप में भारत और यूएस के रिश्ते और अधिक मजबूत होंगे।
It's one of the most consequential the US-Indian relationship in the world. And our strategic alignment is built on shared interests, on mutual trust, and a commitment to a secure and prosperous Indo-Pacific, which is precisely the conversation we had. Okay. It was the world's oldest democracy and the world's largest. And this new 10-year defense framework, which we signed, is ambitious. It's a significant step for our two militaries, a roadmap for deeper and even more meaningful collaboration ahead. It underscores America's long-term commitment to our shared security and our strong partnership between our countries. We have a major defense partnership that is ongoing and made even more powerful by this agreement. So, sir, thank you.
Oh, thank you
very much.
Well, Rohit Sharma, my colleague, joins me from Washington to discuss what he's been tracking all along, the Indo-US relations, whether it's trade or for that matter defense. Rohit, the China-US major announcements and meeting took place, and right after that we're looking at a defense agreement between the two countries, a renewal nonetheless, a very important one at that.
Yeah, this was on expected lines, Geeta. This was supposed to actually happen sometime in the summer, so it's been delayed by a few months. But it happens that both the leaders, Raksha Mantri from India and Secretary of War, were in ASEAN, and they used this opportunity to sign the 10-year framework, which provides a policy direction for both the nations to cooperate over the next decade. And they're talking about coordination between military exercises, information sharing, and technological cooperation. So all in all, I think it's good news. Some people were raising eyebrows over why this was delayed, but I think it's a really important thing. And the messaging right after that, how both leaders said that this is an important, aspect of the relationship, and they continue to do so by signing another 10-year plan.
Okay, but Rohit, this also comes at a time when trade is not moving forward. The trade talks seem to be going downhill rather than uphill. Although we've heard statements from both sides saying that they are working towards, President Trump saying that they are going to sign a deal, but that's not really happened. So we are opening the Indian markets when it comes to defense sector, but US remains closed for India when it comes to things that we want to export to America.
Well, look, I think President Trump, and Prime Minister Modi, when they met way back in February, they talked about, and Indian side actually talked about increasing our trade with the U.S. up to $500 billion. So defense allows India, to shorten that gap, right? And if India is able to purchase defense equipment that it needs from the U.S., it will definitely help both. It will probably do both things. First, it will make President Trump happy. Second, it reduces that trade gap. So we'll have to wait and watch how, everything, happens now that all, as I've said, I was talking yesterday, all eyes are on India right now and what we can offer the U.S. in terms of the trade deal. But more likely, I think more than likely, now that we have this trade framework, I think we'll probably see India purchasing more military equipment from the U.S. and then also trying to offset that trade balance.
Okay, one important aspect of that agreement, again, Rohit, is co-production, joint production. How will the two countries align Make in India with Make in America? Because Trump has made it very clear, especially with the Defense Production Act, that whatever needs to be made will have to be made in America.
And that's where the challenge is, right? I mean, if you look at the framework, the 10-year framework, at that, it does talk about co-production and R&D, but how will that happen, right? I mean, we did see, Indian officials meeting with some military contractors in the U.S. For example, the Indian ambassador recently met with Lockheed Martin's CEO. So there is some talk about tech transfer and making sure that both countries can build. But I think with President Trump's mandate, we'll have to wait and watch how they can overcome this challenge. But the framework does include co-production and joint R&D.
And we'll have to wait and see how that really works out, because Prime Minister Modi, when he took office, had been very insistent that defense production will have to move to India. 21st century India will not depend on other countries. But Trump, and Trump 2.0 particularly, is creating a lot of challenges, Rohit, for India. But we'll keep it at that for now. Thank you so much for joining. Keep tracking the stories from DC, and we'll keep coming to you. Now, the U.S. Department of Labor has released a new advertisement highlighting the H-1B visa abuse faced by Americans that President Donald Trump seeks to now stop. The ad says that the American dream of millions of Americans was stolen by people on H-1B visa, and highlights the countries that benefit the most from it, leading with India. The ad also shows a pie chart of countries with the most H-1B visa approvals. On top is India with 72%, followed by China with 12%, Canada and the Philippines with 1% each, and other 14%. The ad comes around the launch of Project Firewall, rolled out by the Labor Department in September to audit H-1B visa compliance. The project also aims to prevent companies from replacing American workers with low-paid foreign professionals. Meanwhile, elected members of the Congress, which includes Indian American Representative Ami Bera, Representative Jimmy Panetta, and Congressmen Salud Carbajal, Representative Julie Johnson, and Representative Derek Tran, have urged Trump in a letter to reconsider the H-1B visa proclamation. Trump and his administration have repeatedly villainized the legal and official H-1B visa, the companies that offer it, and the people who receive it, weeks after raising H-1B visa fees to $100,000, making it practically unaffordable. The U.S. authorities announced the end of automatic extension of employment authorization documents, that's EAD, for foreigners, a move likely to affect a large number of Indian immigrants and workers. The U.S. State Department of Homeland Security said the decision aims to prioritize proper screening and vetting of foreigners before extending the validity of their employment authorizations or work permits. According to the new rule, foreigners who filed to renew their EAD on or after the 30th of October this year will no longer receive an automatic extension, the DHS had said in a release.
Through Project Firewall, we're taking action to hold companies accountable for H-1B abuse and ensure they prioritize Americans in the hiring process.
Now, the Trump administration is restricting number of refugees admitted annually to the United States to 7,500, and mostly they're white South Africans. This move is a dramatic shift in the Trump policy towards immigration, which perceives illegal migrants as aliens and deems risk to the nation's security or threat to U.S. jobs. No reason was given for this shift in policy, published in a notice on the Federal Register, and are a steep decrease from last year's ceiling of 125,000 set under Democratic President Joe Biden. The notice said the admission of the 7,500 refugees during the 2026 budget year, which began October 1st, was justified by humanitarian concerns or is otherwise in the national interest. It made no mention of any other specific groups to be admitted besides white South Africans, known also as Afrikaners. Trump has claimed Afrikaners face persecution based on their race in the black majority country, allegations the South African government has completely denied. Trump paused all U.S. refugee admissions when he took office in January, saying they could only be restarted if they were established to be in the best interests of the U.S. Weeks later, he launched an effort to bring in Afrikaners, sparking criticism from refugee supporters. According to Reuters, only 138 South Africans had entered the U.S. by early September. Now, after failed diplomatic talks between Pakistan and Afghanistan in Istanbul, which was mediated by Qatar and Turkey, a fresh salvo was launched by Afghanistan's Interior Minister Rajnath Haqqani. Haqqani, during a speech at Firefighting Directorate Training Seminar, accused Pakistan of exporting its internal conflicts across the Durand Line. He said, and I quote, "People of Afghanistan may have internal problems, but they are united against foreign aggression." He also warned Pakistan that if you bring, and I quote him, "if you bring your problems into Afghanistan and create turmoil here, this mistake will cost you dearly." The statement comes amid rising tensions between both the countries and skirmishes along the border. Islamabad has accused Kabul of providing shelter to Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, a terror organization designated by Pakistan, which Taliban now vehemently denies. While Haqqani stressed for peace, he said, and I quote, "No one will suffer problems originating from Afghanistan because of us." He warned that further provocations could alter regional balance. Now, Afghanistan's former Taliban envoy to Pakistan, Abdul Salam Zaeef, he spoke to me in an interview and has in no uncertain terms said Pakistan's military dictatorship must end. Watch this explosive interview. An excerpt over here, full interview on India Today Global's YouTube channel. Let's begin with the talks itself. Why do you think the two sides that have for many, many years, in the sense at least the Taliban with Pakistan administration, worked or had a working relationship or had ties, suddenly we see a complete collapse and breakdown? Why?
I think this is something not now, but the problem of Pakistan was always with the central government. That's what I was believing. When Indian colleagues asked me that the Taliban, they are not independent, I told them, no, this is not true. When they come to the power, when they come to the government, any Afghan, they will be independent about Afghanistan. And they will be protecting the benefit of Afghanistan. And the interest of Afghanistan will be first for anyone. So the Pakistan, right now, the problem is in the Pakistan, not in the Taliban. Because as a neighbor, we want a good relationship with anyone, with Pakistan, because we have the Durand Line. It's almost 1,200 kilometers. And that's necessary to be stable, both sides. But we want that to be stable. But in the same time, we want respect to Afghanistan, to the idea of Afghanistan, to the sovereignty of Afghanistan. That is important. The Pakistan, they have a problem inside. That's they're insecure right now, and they have no stability politically and economically. And they are thinking that the Taliban, they have a role in that. Or they are ignoring the people that they are not able to bring security and stability to Pakistan. They are putting their responsibility on the other shoulder. That's their problem, not our problem. Always we are, because we know the fruit of peace. That's a long time, more than 45 years, we were with 10. And right now, we are enjoying the fruit of stability. We know the value of the security and stability in Afghanistan. We don't want to be destroyed, this kind of thing. But the the Pakistan must to understand, they must to respect to Afghanistan and the sovereignty of Afghanistan. This is the problem.
Right. Ambassador Zaeef, you've known Pakistan very well. You've served there. Is the Pakistan of that time very different from the Pakistan of today? And how have they changed? How has their viewpoint changed towards Kabul?
I think that the Pakistan, they misunderstand from the previous time. When the Americans, they were in Afghanistan. Before that, when the Soviet Union, they were in Afghanistan, they were fighting. The refugees from Afghanistan, they were in Pakistan. And they took a lot of benefit from this situation. They became a power, they got the weapons, they got the nuclear weapons also. And the other progress in Pakistan came, and they are thinking that Afghanistan must to listen to us. And the last time, you know, that when the Russian and the Soviet Union, they leave Afghanistan, but there were negotiations between some parties. Pakistan were participated instead of the Mujahideen and Geneva. But still, the Afghan people, they didn't know what's happened there, what was the contract there. But this time, the Taliban, this was the wisdom or the Taliban used that they didn't give any chance to Pakistan to decide about the political situation of Afghanistan. The Taliban, they did by self. That the Pakistan became angry because they didn't want the Taliban to come to the power, and they wanted that like a Mujahideen, the Taliban fight, and they will take advantage from that. But they didn't. Right. There is money sensitive, I think. That is the problem of Pakistan. Pakistan is not changed, but the people, they were thinking wrongly.
Ambassador Zaeef, talking about the talks itself, why did the talks break down the way they did? What is the lack in commitment when it comes to Pakistan, or for that matter, Afghanistan as well? Because Pakistan accuses Afghanistan of harboring terrorists.
I will tell you, that was agreed. Afghanistan will be not used against them. And Afghanistan will be not supporting anyone to do bad or something dangerous in Pakistan. Yes, but the Pakistan will do the same. Because if someone targeting Afghanistan from inside Pakistan, they have to guarantee that. For example, the Americans, they are coming there, their airplane is coming and they are bombing Afghanistan through Pakistan. They have responsibility for that. They have to start it, for example. And other activities like Daesh, they are supported by them. They have to start, and they have to guarantee that they are not interfering in the internal issue of Afghanistan, of not supporting anyone. This will be respect from both sides, but they were not accepting responsibility, and they want guarantee from Afghanistan. That was the reason, the failing of negotiation.
Right, but are there any guarantees? Because Pakistan now claims that they have evidence about TTP being given safe havens on Afghan soil, and that Afghanistan is not committing to acting against or reining in the TTP.
I think this is the claim only, but the evidence, I don't think they had. They targeted 4 times during the fighting. They targeting the places in Kabul and Kandahar and Paktia, and they said we targeted the TTP, but this was not true. They killed the civilian people and they destroyed the houses of the people of Afghanistan. That means their claim is different from their evidence. They have no evidence. But anyway, that's some issue is that the Taliban, Afghanistan, they claim that Daesh is inside the Pakistan, and they are supporting. They have evidence for that. They have showing the evidence. There is a camp. They are supporting. These people are supporting. That was clear evidence, but they are not accepting that.
Okay. And finally, before I let you go, I saw some of your comments, Ambassador Zaeef, you saying that the interlocutor of Pakistan should change. What's the problem there? The
Pakistan problem, internal problem. They have to resolve their problem. This is one. Secondly, the military dictatorship, that's the problem inside Pakistan. And I know that the people, the population, the politician, they don't want fighting with Afghanistan. They don't want any kind of problem with Pakistan. They only military, they want a problem. I think the people of Pakistan, if they want to stay secure with the people and they want to stay in stability with our neighbor, they must to do something to finish the dictatorship of military power in Pakistan. This is the only way to resolve. I wrote something about that because the military people, they didn't know how to negotiate and they didn't know how to respect. They didn't know the diplomacy and they're fraud and they are attacking by some kind of unlogic. That's, I said, there must be a change and the people to know respect in negotiation, to have experience about that.
Now let's take a look at some other stories from across the world in World at a Glance.
President Donald Trump has urged congressional Republicans to unilaterally end the government shutdown by eliminating the Senate filibuster, urging them to take an unprecedented step that GOP leaders have firmly opposed until now. The Buckingham Palace announced that Andrew would lose all his royal titles and leave his 30-room mansion in Windsor. After losing title, Andrew, brother of King Charles, will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. But according to sources, he won't leave the Royal Lodge immediately. In a posthumous memoir, Virginia Giuffre repeated allegations that, as a teenager, she had sex with Andrew on 3 separate occasions at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. Andrew has always denied the claims. According to news agency ANP, Dutch centrist party D66 won the most votes in the general election. This victory makes 38-year-old leader Job Jetten on course to become the youngest ever prime minister in Netherlands. D66 is now expected to take the lead in a first round of talks to form a coalition government, a process which usually takes months. NASA has rejected reality star Kim Kardashian's claim that the 1969 space mission to land the first man on moon was faked. Kardashian's comments came on the latest episode of her long-running TV series, The Kardashians. She told co-star Sarah Paulson she thought the moon landing did not happen.